Hey guys, Compulsion84 here. Today I've got a video going over several camcorder and camera options that are good for recording high quality video. This is focused primarily on YouTube, but they will work for just about anything where you need to record good quality video. I will go over a cheap option at about $50, two good options at about $500, two solid options at $1,000, and then one really expensive one at $2,000. If you want to see the actual video comparison I did, check out the video linked above. It's a lot longer and it's got all the cameras recording side by side, doing comparisons on several different objects and different lighting conditions. And one other thing before we get going, if you do decide to buy any of this stuff or research it, please use my Amazon affiliate links in the description below. It doesn't cost you anything extra and it helps support the channel. So without further ado, let's get to the recommendations. So after this testing video and then all the experience I've gathered, what's my conclusion? Well, kind of unsurprisingly, is if you want the best video, you should use a mirrorless or a DSLR camera. And I've got a bunch of points that I thought were really worthwhile to share with you. A camcorder in the about $500 range will get you pretty good detail, but it will be inferior to a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. You will also suffer in the color accuracy and color range with most camcorders. I was a little bit surprised my phone actually had a pretty good color range. Obviously that has a vast difference, but if you've got a mid to high-end phone, you may get pretty good color accuracy. Something I didn't test or I didn't even record for the channel is avoid $200 camcorders. I bought one of those and the video was so noisy and the detail was so bad, I returned it almost immediately. In my opinion, it didn't even warrant a test because it was that bad. So if you want any sort of decent looking footage, you're better off using your phone versus a $200 camcorder. The camcorder, obviously very easy to set up, very portable. If you get the mid-range $500 to $600 one, you can get a good amount of zoom, decent amount of detail, decent features. There is some customization and some manual mode, but in my experience that manual mode is somewhat limited and much clunkier than a DSLR. I will note that it requires less knowledge to use all these features on the camcorder, so if you just want something to pick up and shoot, that might be a really good option. I started that way. However, I noticed that my footage had a lot of issues that I wanted to fix, and I knew I could fix with a mirrorless camera. Final conclusions. I actually thought about this a lot. I wrote this video in a lot of steps. I watched the footage over and over again, did a bunch of research, and in my opinion, this is the best thing you can do for starting out with either a camera or a YouTube channel. If you're not doing YouTube or internet video, this might, some of it might be a little bit irrelevant, but either way, I'll start in the order that I would begin if I was going to start this YouTube thing all over again from scratch and I didn't know anything. I honestly would start with a phone and a little mini tripod. You can get those for pretty cheap. Everybody has a phone. If your phone can shoot at 1080p at 30 frames per second, it is actually usually pretty good video with decent light. Your audio you need to use the rear-facing camera. I forgot to mention that. The front cameras are usually garbage. You are going to have to be recording yourself like this, so like I can't obviously frame myself. So if you get a tripod and everything, you can set it up and get an idea of what's in frame and what's not, but it is going to be difficult. However, if you want to start off and take decent quality video, you can do that. And if you want to take crap video, you could always use the front-facing camera and actually see if you're in frame or not. Your audio won't be that good. However, for about $15 or $20, you can buy one of these. This is a little lav mic, and it's a little clip-on mic. And you'll often see these in, talk shows and stuff like that. Obviously, they'll be much nicer, but you can get a decent one to start for $15 or $20. And that will take your audio to a much better quality. It'll be better detailed, less echoey, etc. compared to the stock phone. If you're going to just get started on YouTube, I would get a little lav mic for 15 or 20 bucks, get a little mini tripod for, again, 10 to 20 bucks, and you can, get rolling, see what you like. Now this part I thought about a lot. I actually recommend getting the Panasonic G7 for a smaller channel that you've gotten more serious about, or a medium-sized channel. This is about a $500 camera that comes with a 14 to 42 millimeter kit lens. It films in 1080p video and 4K, and it has the necessary things like an articulating screen and a mic input so you can use an external mic. So if you wanted to improve your audio with really any camera, you use an external solution. This is a Rode Video Mic Pro with a dead cat, is what they call it, windscreen over it. Most of these consumer solutions connect with a 3.5mm hookup. This will drastically improve your audio. So if you wanted to record something at home, you could get a mic like I have, but you'll be chained to your desk. I do a lot of my stuff in front of my computer, so it's not a big deal. But if you want to be more mobile, a solution like this might be good. The reason I recommend the G7 for about $500 is you get a lot for that money, and it gives you good details, good options for expandability, and a lot more room to grow and just better quality footage. You can spend, my next option is to get a camcorder for about $500. You can get the V770 I used for about $500. There's a newer model, the HC V800 for about $600. These are going to have decent footage, but it's just not as good as what you'll get with the G7. Something I would note is if you want the ease of use of a camcorder but better detail, you can buy camcorders for $900 to $1,000 that have a little bit better control, not as good as DSLR, but much better detail. You'll see a lot of YouTubers or whatever online that have these $1,000 camcorders that do a pretty good job. There's been a lot of iterations. The most current model is the Canon HF G21 Full HD. That is the up-to-date 2018 model that will give you 1080p footage with good quality detail. Again, this is $900 to $1,000, so you're starting to jump up. So if you want the ease of use of a camcorder with better detail, that's what I would recommend. Now, if you want to get more serious, you also want to dabble in photography, or you just have more money to burn, I would recommend what I've got, the Panasonic G85. I would recommend the G85 over the camcorder I just mentioned, just because you're probably going to have better detail, you're going to have better stills, you're going to have better controls, and overall better footage. It checks all the boxes for me. It's got good quality details, a fairly big sensor, an articulating reversible LCD screen, so I can look over there and see what I'm recording, an external mic output, something that a lot of cameras, Sony, didn't have for a long time. It doesn't overheat when you're doing video. It's just an all-around good camera. I really like this thing. It is a little bit bigger than the A6000 I have, but again, it is much better for doing video. If you're more serious about your video and you have the $900 to $1,000, I would recommend this with the 12 to 60mm kit lens. And then you can get the external mic if you really want to kick it up a notch, but you've got a pretty good package. As far as video goes, this thing is great. There's one final thing that I won't recommend for the average user. If you're really enthusiast, rich, or your channel's huge, you can get the Panasonic G9 or the GH5. The reason I'm not jumping into those right away, the bodies alone are $1,600 and $1,800 respectively. So yeah, they're expensive. You add on the 12 to 60mm lens, you're at about $2 grand. Yeah, that's a lot. So I wasn't trying to get those anytime soon. This YouTube channel is a pretty big part of my life. I like doing it. I like creating. I want to do it more. I try to do it more. The G85 was the best. It was essentially the perfect convergence of everything for me, and I highly recommend it. It is a little bit expensive, but it's much better suited for recording video. It's been quite a journey, but again, my recommendation is if you want to spend $500, go with the G7. If you want to spend about $1,000, go with the G85. And if you just want to dip your toes in, you can either get a webcam, which I don't think is the best option, but it's a starter, and that'll cost you about $50 for the Logitech 920C or C920, I can never remember, or about $40–50 for a little lav mic and a little tripod for your phone. Again, you'll get the best details with a mirrorless or DSLR camera. You might even find the DSLRs can take good video. Mirrorless cameras in general are better suited for it. If you do see a DSLR camera maybe used or on sale, or if you just have one laying around, you want to make sure it can shoot 1080p at 30 FPS. Ideally, you want 60, but 30 is the minimum point that you should really be looking for. So you might be able to grab one of those and get up and running for even less money. So the point of this video is, decide what's most important to you. If you want better detail and control, go with a mirrorless or DSLR camera. If you want more ease of use, go with a camcorder, and you can jump with a higher priced camcorder to get better detail. But again, realize you're, in my opinion, shooting yourself in the foot if you go with a $1,000 camcorder when you can get a G85 instead. I do have to say, it feels good to finally wrap up this video. I had a lot of time to learn multiple pieces of equipment, and I feel like I gave you a better review because of it. So I had a year with a camcorder, about a year with the G85, and before that, off and on some experience with the Sony a6000. So I hope this review was very helpful for you. I hope it helps you pick a better camera and make a more informed purchasing decision. Again, if you do decide to research any of this or buy any of it, please use the links in the description below because it does help support the channel. So thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Compulsion84 and I like to make videos about guns, gaming, and gadgets. Subscribe to my channel for more great content, and I hope I see you next time.